Hello everyone, my name is Niladri Mondal and I am Assistant Professor of IIIJS UEM Kolkata. Today I am going to discuss some essential elements of Indian Contract Act present under Section 10 of Indian Contract Act. So let us take what does Section 10 of the Indian Contract Act says. It says that all agreements or contract, if they are made by the free consent of the parties competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object and are not hereby expressly declared to be void. Therefore, if we look into this section carefully and dissect, then we will find the essentials which are present inside this section itself. So what are those ingredients? First is agreement, which is defined under section 2E. Second is free consent, that is section 14 of the Indian Contract Act. Third is competency. Fourth is lawful consideration. And fifth is lawful object. And the last ingredient which is present inside this section, that is not expressly declared void. Let us now discuss these essential elements one by one. So the first element, that is agreement, which is defined under section 2E. So what does agreement means? Agreement means it is a product of offer and acceptance. So what is offer? It can also be termed as proposal. It is showing willingness to do something or not to do something. And acceptance, when the other person officially accepts the offer, it becomes offer plus acceptance into an agreement. So let us take an example, such as if I went to a market to buy a chips packet for rupees 10. So I offer rupees 10 in consideration for a chips packet. So my consideration is rupees 10 and chips packet is consideration for the other person who will accept my offer. So when my offer is being accepted by the shopkeeper, it becomes an agreement. Now, the second ingredient is free consent. So, free consent is defined under section 14 of the Indian Contract Act. So, a consent is said to be free when it is not caused by coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation and mistake. So, if we discuss what consists a consent to be free, when these are devoid of all these elements, that is coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation and mistake. So what does coercion means? Coercion is defined under section 15 of the Indian Contract Act. Suppose a person puts a gun on another person's head and asks for a consideration. So in that case, will it be considered to be as free consent? No, because he has the fear of losing his life. So in that case, it will not be considered to be as free consent. Now coming to the next point, that is undue influence. If there is undue influence in case of a consideration, then it will not be considered to be as free consent. Because in case of undue influence, a person, let us understand this by an example. If a person of higher stature asks a person of lower stature to sell his car for rupees 2 lakh, whereas in actual the price of that car is 10 lakh. So even if the person of lower stature sells the car, gives consent to sell his car, so it will not be considered to be as free consent. Now the third point is fraud. If there is a fraud while giving consent, it will not be considered to be as free consent, because the person befools another person in order to obtain the consent. and the other point is misrepresentation. Although a person represent positively knowing it to be true, whereas in reality it is not true, then also it will not be considered to be as free consent. And the last point is mistake. So mistake can be a mistake of law, mistake of foreign law, and mistake of fact. When all these things are present while giving consideration, then it will not be considered to be as free consent. So now the third essential ingredient for a contract to be enforceable before the court of law is competency, also known as capacity of the parties to enter into a contract, which is defined under section 11 of the Indian Contract Act. So who are the persons who can enter into a contract? The persons who are not minors, persons who are not of unsound mind, and the persons who are not disqualified by law. There is a famous case related to this section, that is Mohidi Bibi versus Dharmodas Ghosh, wherein in this case it was found that a minor entered into a contract and the court held this contract to be void. The remaining essential elements of this section I will discuss in my next video. So till then, keep watching and please like, share, comment and subscribe to our channel for such informative videos. Thank you.